Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Sabrina Martelli. She is a success and manifestation mindset coach based in Rockwood, Ontario. How are you doing today, Sabrina?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here and be part of the Empowerography community and also be a guest on the podcast and share a bit about your story and your journey and what you do. I appreciate you taking the time and I appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. And I appreciate you actually giving me this opportunity. I think this is a wonderful mission and message that you're on. And so I'm looking forward to being on here today.
Thank you so much. Well, let's jump right in. Sabrina, you're a social worker, a success and manifestation mindset coach, a wife, and a mother. How do you find the time to work as a social worker and run a business?
That's a really good question. I get that a lot. So what I always say to people, when people say they have no time, that to me is just indicative of not really knowing what your priorities are or not clear on what your priorities are. And so for me, I've just gotten very clear on what is important and how I want to intentionally use my time. And so, I make time in the morning. I get up about an hour and a half earlier before anybody else is up in the house. I'm up at, around 5 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
And I use that quiet time to work on my business. I'm all on a social media platform. And so it's really easy to kind of just hunker down and use that time intentionally. And then in the evening as well, I just make sure that once my kids get to bed, I dedicate time to spend obviously with my husband, but also just dedicate some of that time to work on my business rather than, maybe watching TV or just kind of sitting on the couch and doing nothing. So that's how I make the time for me personally, and it works for me.
Well, I guess it's about time management, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. I guess it's part of it for some people is excuses. But you can accomplish a lot if you use your time wisely and manage it properly.
Absolutely, 100%. Once I started doing this, it amazed me on how much I can actually get accomplished in the waking time that we have, right? Because you need to allow yourself time to sleep, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think it's phenomenal when you really put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And you manage your time, how much you can do.
I read that you have always had this innate desire to help people, even as a teenager. Do you think that your experiences when you were younger helped put you on or guide you on the path you're currently on now?
100% they did. Yeah. I've always been, so for me personally, I've always been that, what they would call that heavier set child, right? Like right from when I was younger. And that, I struggled with that. I struggled with that growing up as a kid and into adolescence. It was always, for me, it really impacted my self-image and my self-worth as a child. And so I think that just gave me that burning desire, to do what I'm doing now, because I also have 2 little kids. And so for me, I want to be able to show them and to demonstrate to them that they, it doesn't matter. They are beautiful the way they are.
That's right.
And they have limitless potential at their fingertips. They can do and be anything that they want. And I need to represent that.
Yeah.
I need to be that model for them. And for anyone else that I come into contact with. And so I 100% feel that those experiences growing up set me on this path.
Can you talk about or tell us a bit more about some of those struggles and personal experiences you went through as a kid / teenager and how they helped shape the woman you've become today?
Yeah. So I remember, even as a child, often being told, oh, you have such a pretty face. You have such a pretty face if you only lost some weight.
Oh my
right?
gosh. That is
so,
horrible.
Yeah. And so, and that stuck with me. I mean, even to this day, when I say that, and people respond like you, they're like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. I'm like, yeah, it really is.
Yes.
But at that time, as a child, that's all you know.
Yeah.
You don't know any different. You don't know that that's horrible to say that to a child. And so that's what I learned, and that's what I took in, and that became part of my, internal kind of core beliefs that my value was placed on my body and how my body looked. And according to what I was being told, my body didn't meet societal expectations. Right. And so growing up, instead of what I did was, yes, it impacted me in terms of my mood. I struggled with my self-image. I had difficulties in terms of looking for acceptance in the wrong ways, or looking for love in the wrong ways. But on the flip side, it instilled in me this desire to kind of like show people that it doesn't just depend on what you look like. Your success as a human being, as an innate individual who walks on this world, is not dependent on what you look like. And so, it shifted for me, and I wanted to prove to individuals. It's like that show them, kind of attitude, that I wanted to prove that I could be successful. I didn't need to have what society thought was, the body that you should have, or the way you should look or appear in order to be successful.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, this societal expectation of how people should look is completely unrealistic. It's complete bullshit. I mean, half the crap you see on social media is fake anyways. The magazine images you see are all airbrushed. It's ridiculous that any human being is held to this standard. And it's sad because the fact that you went through this as a young kid and teenager, these are the formative years. And for kids to have that kind of thought process or that kind of image ingrained into their heads that this is how you need to look, and to have these kids carry this through as yourself. And I mean, my daughters went through it too, when being bullied as kids, and carry it through into their adult years. It's horrible that it affects and it carries through this amount of years into someone's life as an adult, and have it affect how they feel about themselves and how they view themselves. It's absolutely horrible. And we need to do everything we can to eradicate this bullshit expectation and ingrain this into our kids that this is not real. Do not look to this for validation. This is not how you should look. We need to change the narrative.
Absolutely, 100%. And, you mentioned that your children were bullied, and, I experienced that as well. I was bullied even in elementary school. Yeah. They didn't call it bullying.
No, back then they didn't. No.
No, it was like, you took the mentality, sticks and stones, they break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Right.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It was that whole mentality. But I remember like not wanting to wear a bathing suit, in public. public and being called fat and, you know, being told that no one would ever want to date me and all of those things. Right. And so, it's really, really important that we help to change that narrative, because our core beliefs, like what we learn as a child, shapes, you know, how we see ourselves. It shapes, you know, how we see ourselves in relationships and how we see ourselves with the world around us. And so that needs to change. Absolutely. It really, truly does.
It does, for sure. So for you, what was the turning point or light bulb moment when you decided that this is it, I've had it, it's time to change my life and tune that shit out and work on me?
Yeah. So for me, the biggest light bulb moment, because I had some along the way, but they never really stuck. So the biggest aha moment for me was on my 10-year anniversary. And so with my husband, we went away with our children. We have 2 little kids, and we went away, you know, down south to Mexico. And I surprised my husband with a renewal of our wedding vows on the beach. And I remember at that time, I was at probably the lowest point I have ever been in. I was not in a good place in terms of physically, like my health. And because I didn't have a good relationship with food, which was because of, you know, the way I was raised, and I turned to food for my emotions to soothe. Right.
Okay.
And so I was at a very, very low place in my life. And emotionally, I was not in a good place. And I remember getting ready that day for what should have been, you know, this momentous moment. My children were there. They were witnessing us getting, you know, remarried on the beach. It was, you know, something that should be celebratory. And I did not like myself. I did not like myself. I was getting ready. I was trying, you know, everything to change my mood, and I just didn't like myself. And then even in the pictures afterwards, I like, we don't even to this day have any of those printed.
Really?
It's really, really sad. Yes, because I just didn't, I couldn't bring myself to do it, because it signified a moment that I just wasn't happy with where I was at in my life. I really, truly was not happy. And that was my biggest moment for me, because I looked at my children and I looked at my husband, and I have the world at my fingertips, and I was not happy, and I needed to change. I needed to shift that. I needed to shift it first and foremost for myself.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the, so, you know, sorry, not to interrupt you, but no, that is the most important part that people need to realize, is that you don't do this, the inner work, for outer validation. You do it for you first and foremost. That's the most important part that we need to remember.
Yes. Yeah. And that was it for me. I sat down and I said, you know, something's got to change. Something has to change. And I know that I can do it. I know that I have the power within me to do it. And so I needed to do it for myself first and foremost, but then I had these 2 little human beings, and, you know, they are what push me. They are what drive me. And so that was the biggest moment for me, that things needed to shift.
So how long after you decided to turn things around and work on you did you start your coaching business?
Yeah. So my coaching business just started within the past year. So what happened after that was I decided to take my life into my own hands. I decided to get healthier, but I got healthier not because of necessarily how I looked. And I think that's really important. You know, when it comes to body image and when it comes to self-image, that for me, it was about, I didn't feel good. Like you know, physically didn't feel good. I was getting winded doing things. You know, I had a hard time playing with my kids. And so for me, I wanted to get healthier. It wasn't necessarily about how I looked in the mirror. And so I think that's really important, because if you want to make sustainable change when it comes to your physical health, you have to do it for the right reasons.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
like you said, it's not for that outer validation.
No.
It's because you recognize that it's damaging you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
sure.
you need to change. And so I took that time to get healthier physically. But I also took that time to do a lot of internal reflection and self-development. And then about, I would say, a year of doing that, I was introduced to Bob Proctor, and I was introduced to one of his world-renowned programs called Thinking into Results.
Okay.
And I decided to invest in myself, and I hired a coach, and I did this program. And that's what led me on the path of starting my business and becoming a coach.
Okay. What's the name of your business, and how did you come up with the name?
So the name of my business is Be a Diamond Coaching. And I came up with that name for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
We all know that diamonds are formed from coal, and they're formed, under pressure. And so it's one of the hardest naturally occurring substances in the world. And so for me, it was about, it doesn't matter what experiences you have had in life. If you take those experiences and you learn from them and you grow, you can become this diamond. You can become rare. You can become unique. And so that was one of the reasons why. The other is that diamonds, as a spiritual meaning, they inspire imagination. They inspire strength and courage. They're invincible. You can't break them.
Right.
And they have the power to drive away bad energy. And so for me, that was the other piece, because I think it's so important that we recognize that we can use our imagination, we can use our mind, we can use our spirit to do anything that we want to do in life. And so that's how I came up with that name. Very
cool. I love it. I didn't know that part of the equation where diamonds represent strength and that whole part. I had no idea about that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. It's really, it's interesting because there's the laws of nature and there's energy, right? And so when we talk about manifestation, that's what that's all about. Right. It's about understanding these laws of nature and tapping into that energy. And so many of us don't really know how to do that. And so that's why I thought it was a nice synergy.
Absolutely. How long have you been in business now?
So formally, I mean, my Be a Diamond coaching business has been just a little less than a year, but I've been a social worker for 20 plus years. And so certainly using, that capacity for a long time, but have really formalized it over the past year.
Okay. So what is the most exciting or inspiring part for you about your coaching business?
For me, it's really being able to walk on a journey with someone and seeing how they unfold and seeing how they recognize that they are an amazing human being. And if they can just get past their limiting beliefs, their fears, their worries, their concerns about what other people think, all of those things that keep us from doing what we really and truly want to do. If I can help someone recognize that and shift it for them so that they can do and follow their dreams, that is the most inspiring and exciting part for me.
Yeah, I think that the self-limiting beliefs and us learning to get the fuck out of our own way, our own heads, is the biggest problem that we face. We are our own worst critics. And yes, of course, we also have to tune out the external noise that's there too. But I think that first and foremost, it starts with us, and we are our biggest hurdle that we have to overcome.
Absolutely, we are. I mean, we are our own limit.
Yes, for sure.
It's not anybody else, it's us. And so we place the limits on ourselves, and whatever, and those limits are based in, you know, as we talked about, like how we were raised, you know, what we believe about ourselves. And we need to change that. We really need to do that internal work to figure out what it is that's holding us back from our true potential.
For sure. Now, you attribute a lot of your change and success of change to Bob Proctor and his teachings. What did these teachings do for you personally that created such a change in you?
Yeah. So Bob Proctor and his teachings, you know, he's all about really shifting your mindset and manifestation, and recognizing that the power of the mind is infinite. Like, we still, scientifically to this day, we still do not fully grasp what it is that our mind can do, right? And so I think for him, you know, with my background as a social worker and in cognitive behavioral therapy, it aligned beautifully, because it's all about challenging what we believe, because what we believe is based in our perceptions. It's not always based in our reality of a situation. Yet we then focus on these beliefs, and they drive our life. And they're not necessarily based in facts. And so I'll give you an example, you know, a child that, like myself, you know, who was bullied and who believed that they weren't beautiful, right? Or who believed that their body wasn't perfect. That's not based in facts.
No.
That's based on what other people have told me.
That's right.
But that's not the facts. Yet I allowed that to manipulate my life and how I view myself. And so it's so important to be able to shift that. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing is just the power of manifestation, the ability to be able to use your mind to visualize what you want and bring it into the physical world is really, really powerful.
Just think of, I mean, really, when you think about it, if we stopped listening, and again, it's a hell of a lot easier said than done, but if we were able to easily tune out all the bullshit and excess noise and not let what other people think of us or say to us affect how we view ourselves, just can you imagine the I can't even think of the word I'm looking for, but the success that we would have, or how much further we could go in life without having those limits put on us by what other people think, and then of course what we think of ourselves as well. But just think of how much further and how much we could accomplish and how much good we could do if we didn't let that noise seep in and affect how we view ourselves.
Exactly.
Like it's limitless. And that is, I mean, honestly, we can do anything we want in life if we put in the work and we believe in ourselves. But to have other people's thoughts affect how we view ourselves, it's just horrible that it limits what our abilities are, or we let it limit us to what we can do.
Amazing. It really is. I mean, and it's not just even what other people, but it's how we think of ourselves.
That's right.
You know, and it's just, and that's why I do what I do, is because I want to create this shift for people, for anyone that I come into contact with. Because imagine if we are all starting to believe that way. Imagine if we all start to believe in ourselves.
That's right.
And, we then start to bring that into our engagement in the world around us.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I read that you are co-authoring a book. Can you tell us a bit about that and how that whole thing came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have always had a love of reading. I remember as a child, I would go through a book in a day. I really, really loved reading. And I always had this dream of writing my own book. And so, I put that into my visualization that I wanted to write a book. And that was something that I purposefully and intentionally thought about every single day. And happened to connect with someone on social media who does a co-authoring project. And she was looking for co-authors, and the topic was momming hard.
Okay.
And I thought that this was just a perfect fit. I reached out to her, and here we are. So I'm co-authoring on this project called Momming Hard.
Okay.
And I'm really, really excited about it because it's going to give me an opportunity to really connect with other moms who maybe are struggling, who are on that struggle bus, who are not putting themselves first, who are doing everything for everybody else, but they're not focusing on themselves. And so I want to be able to tell my story and illustrate to, the mothers in this world that I'm no one special. I'm no one special. And so if I can do it, then you can do it as well. And here are the reasons why. And so that's, I'm really excited about this. It's going to be
I don't blame you. Out. You should be. Absolutely. That's great.
To come out, in 2021. So it's
beautiful.
Very good.
Excellent. You have said that you want to create a movement of showing others that they can do and be more. Why have you decided to make this your mission?
So it's for everything that we've talked about, really. It's just, it's that notion that if people in this world, if anyone that I come into contact with, then believe that they can change their life and that they can become the best version of themselves. And then they go out there and they show that to more individuals that they are in contact with. And it's this compound effect. I think that would just be a wonderful thing, because then you have individuals and human beings who are living their life to their greatest potential.
Yeah.
And if we are living our life in our greatest potential, then we are not competing. We are not jealous. We are not fighting. We are not at war. And what greater gift can we give to ourselves and to the world? And so that's why it's my mission.
I love that. That's a great mission.
Thank you.
What do you think are a couple of the key strategies in helping people eradicate self-limiting beliefs?
I think, for me, I have a routine, and it's been imperative in changing how I see things. And that is, in the morning, I focus on visualization. So I have goals that I have set for myself. And so I think it's really important that you have a goal, and this goal is defined in what your purpose is. So you need to know what your purpose is. You need to figure that out. Yeah. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a big purpose, but you need to figure out what really drives you, what fuels your spirit, what gives you those goosebumps, that makes you feel like you're walking in what you were meant to do. And so when you can figure out what your purpose is, you focus on some little goals to get you there. And so I visualize in the morning. I visualize myself as already having reached my goals. And I practice gratitude every morning and every evening. And so I make sure that I intentionally write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. But I also write down 5 things that I will be grateful for in the future. And so I do that as well. And then I think it's just, it's having someone that can guide you.
Yeah.
I'm a coach and I have a coach. And I think it's really, really important that you invest in yourself. If you are feeling that these beliefs are holding you back, you need to make yourself a priority and you need to invest in yourself.
Everything starts with self, from the foundation of self. I mean, and then it just flows outward, right? If you don't do the work on yourself and love yourself, how are you going to be able to be there and help anyone else? I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And even when you think about it, when you're sitting on an airplane waiting to take off, right? They tell you, put your mask on first, then help others. So it's so, there's so much in that. There's so much truth in that. And more people need to do the self work and love themselves. And I mean, again, think of how much better this world would be if people loved themselves more and cared about themselves more and put themselves first. And putting yourself first isn't selfish. It's just self-care.
Absolutely. And, I always find that people, they'll say that they would love to invest in themselves, but money is an issue or they're worried about time. But yet people will go into debt and get a university degree. And a university degree doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be successful at the end of the day.
Well, I think that's a whole other conversation. I think that's a whole podcast episode right there.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's so true. And so, we'll do that. But then when it comes to investing in yourself, the time and the money, we balk at it, or we come up with reasons of why it can't happen.
That's right.
We really should be coming up with reasons of how it can happen.
Yes, for sure. For sure. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I would have to say my intuition.
Okay.
I would have to say my intuition. I really try to focus on what my gut tells me. That initial reaction, that initial response before you allow all the noise to get in the way, of telling you why it can't happen or what will people think, and, all of those, again, those limiting beliefs that we have. I think it's my ability to trust my intuition that has helped me to become successful.
Okay. To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
I would say being a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my greatest win. That's what brings me joy every single day. Don't get me wrong, they challenge me.
Oh, yes. Kids will do that. That's for sure.
Yeah. But, at the end of the day, it's being able to watch, these little human beings that we brought into this world learn and grow and look up to you, and being able to teach them. That has been my biggest high and continues to be every single day.
Okay. What is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
Don't get in your own way.
There's that theme again.
It honestly, that is the best piece of advice. If we can embody that, then we can move mountains. We can't get in our own way.
For sure. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
Yeah, so success for me personally, I think, is doing what makes you truly happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you think would make other people happy. It's not what you think you should be doing. It's what makes you truly happy at the end of the day. If you can lay your head down in bed at night and be happy, then that is success to me.
Absolutely agree, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I would say two things.
Okay.
One is my morning and evening routines, that time that I take for myself, where I really do my personal growth and development, because I think that you need to continue to do that. Just because you do, one course doesn't mean that you stop. And so
no, I think that that's a lifelong journey. You have to keep doing the work all your life.
Absolutely. And so that would be one thing that, really makes me walk in my best version of myself, is my morning and evening routine. And then the other thing is the quality time with my family. Really makes me feel inspired and makes me feel like I am doing the best that I can.
Okay. What do you think is the most common reason for people failing or giving up?
Hands down, self-worth.
Okay.
I would say, the way you view yourself, your self-esteem is the reason why people fail or they give up. Because if you think about it, if you're confident in yourself as a person, and if you are confident in what you bring to the world, then you will not look at, if there's a bump in the road or an obstacle as a failure.
Yeah.
You will look at that and you will say, what can I learn from this? And how do I pivot? And how do I shift? And how do I grow to continue to reach the goal that I have set for myself? And you can only do that if you're confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. It's just a hurdle. That's all it is. Or a speed bump, whatever you want to call it. It's not a failure. Failing is part of life. That's how we learn. But the key is to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. That's the key, right?
Yes, it is.
Up.
Yeah. And I don't really see anything as a failure anymore. I used to, right?
Yeah.
Used to, if something happened, I would go down that world spin of, I'm such a failure and why can't I do anything right? And all of those pieces. But now I don't see it that way anymore. It only becomes a failure if you stop.
That's right.
That's when it's a failure.
100%. I have a friend of mine who sent me a meme. And I was back when he sent that to me, I was in that self-limiting belief way of thinking. And and I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's two guys, they're digging in a mine and they both got their pickaxes, and one guy is so close. You can see on the other side of the very thin piece of the wall that's left, all the diamonds are there. And he's almost there, and the other guy is up above him, I think it is, and he's given up. Like, I can't remember, is it the guy that's almost at the other side of the wall that's giving up? He drops his pickaxe and he walks away. Yes. And the meme says never give up, because you just don't know how close you are to that next phase, right? So absolutely, I always think of that meme that my friend sent me.
It's a great visual, and
it is for powerful. Sure. For sure. What is your personal motto, Sabrina?
I have two personal models. Okay. One is life is what you make it. And the other is I never lose. Either I win or I learn.
That's an awesome one. I love that one. The second one is great. The first one's great too, but I love that second one.
Yeah.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment to me is a journey to strength and confidence, and the ability to also help others go on that journey. that's how I view empowerment, because I think it all boils down to our self-worth and, you know, how we see ourselves. And so if we can see ourselves in the light that, you know, our creator meant us to be, you know, whoever your creator is, you know, so many of us are just throwing away all the potential of, you know, what we're meant to be and what we're meant to do. And so for me, empowerment really is that journey of recognizing that and it coming into your own and helping others to do the same.
I love it. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Limitless.
I love that. That's great. That's wonderful. If you could set up a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would it say?
So my billboard would say, join the movement, hashtag be a diamond.
Okay.
Do I have to just choose one place?
Yeah, let's choose one place.
All right. Let's choose Times Square.
Okay.
It would be right up in Times Square. Yes,
sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've had some women answer. I've had two women answer actually that they would project it into the sky. That way, even more people see it.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have thought of that one. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Becoming a Diamond.
Love it. What gives you the motivation to keep going?
Hands down, my children. My children really, you know, they provide that outward motivation, right?
Yeah.
To keep going, because everything I do is for me, but it's also for them. You know, I want to be the model that they look up to.
Yeah.
And so that's my motivation to keep going.
What's the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
It would be the Thinking into Results program through the Proctor Gallagher Institute. That was the most recent investment that I made in myself, where I, you know, pushed past my fears, those fears of, you know, the money investment, those fears of what if I'm a failure, and just took that leap of faith.
What's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
I don't like to view things as risks anymore, actually, because I think that if we enter into a situation feeling that it's a risk, then that's the energy that we're putting out into the world. And so if we put that energy out into the world, what will we receive in turn? Well, it may end up being risky, right?
True.
So when I face any situation, I try to ensure that I'm going into it with that kind of positive energy, that there is no risk, that, you know, if I'm following my gut and I'm trusting faith and I'm doing the action steps to achieve what I want to achieve, then it can only be successful. And so that's how I like to view things.
I like that spin. That's very interesting. If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would that be?
Unstoppable. It would be Unstoppable by Sia. That would be my theme song. Okay.
Early bird or night owl?
Definitely early bird. Early bird gets the worm, isn't that what they say?
So they say. I mean, I think I'm a bit of both. I think I do my most creative and best work at night. I'm a total night owl. I stay up till quite wee hours, but I'm usually up. I'm not up as early as 5 a.m., but I'm up about 7:30.
Oh, well, see, good for you. You're still getting up at a decent time, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not laying in bed till 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. No, definitely not.
Oh, come on. You're just saying that because we're recording right now.
No chance. That's too many hours wasted in the day.
I know. I hear you.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would that be?
That our children are our future, and that we need to show up as our best selves so that our children see that and they learn from that, and they will then show up as their best selves, and their children's children will do the same. I think that's the most important thing to teach the world.
Yeah, again, I mean, it goes back to instilling these values into our children and self-love and all of that amazing stuff into them when they're young. So it just, it's ingrained in them. It becomes part of their DNA and they don't know any different.
Absolutely. 100%.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
My warning label would say, warning, if you hang out with me long enough, you'll start to believe in yourself.
I love that. That's a great one. Lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be, Sabrina?
I would tell my younger self that you are sacred. I would tell my younger self that, you know, you as a person, your body, your mind, your emotions are all very sacred, and you should share that with people that deserve it. That would be my advice to my younger self.
I love that. Sabrina, thank you so very much for taking the time to be here and share your story and your journey and some of your insights. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. It's been fun. We've had our laughs and the conversation has been absolutely incredible. I truly appreciate everything that you're doing, and I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being part of the community here, the Empowerography community, and just agreeing to be a guest and share your story on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Brad. I really, really enjoyed my time here, and I appreciate you as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, this is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Sabrina Martelli. She is a success and manifestation mindset coach based in Rockwood, Ontario. Thank you so much, Sabrina. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
You as well. Take care.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visaeuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.